Adventures in the Forgotten Realms coming just around the corner. Preview season is very soon to start, but hasn't quite yet. And in today's video, I'm going to be so overwhelmingly positive about some of the changes and additions to this set in terms of visual design and booster contents that either people won't click the video, unless I make the thumbnail incredibly clickbait. I guess you'll know by now because you clicked the video whether it was super clickbait. Or someone's going to call me a cuck in the comments. And that's just the hazards of the job, I guess. I'm going to start from least hyped to most hyped. All three of these things I actually fucking love. They're all part of what's called Project Booster Fun. If you know what Project Booster Fun is, it's a term used for the marketing gimmick at Wizards to try and make opening boosters more fun. It involved adding 3 different booster products from draft to set to collector, each one having varying slots. And those slots and what you get in them and the treatments and stuff change with every single set. So trying to keep abreast of it is absolutely fucking pointless. My opinion of Project Booster Fun is that it is a success in the fact that it makes opening boosters fun, but the idea of just trying to keep up with it, trying to figure it out, it's complete fuck it, it's nonsense. There's flow charts and grids and all sorts of shit for every single set. And then some words don't even fucking mean what they mean in the next set. Like etched foiling is some kind of foiling, but it's done on different frames, so every single one of them looks different. So look, relax, do what I do, and just smile and nod. Who gives a fuck at this point, honestly? The first part of Project Booster Fun for this set is what's called, well, one of the showcase frames. We've seen this sort of stuff with the adventure frames in the past in Throne of Eldraine, and like the comic book arts in Ikoria, and the Zendikar, like alternate arts with frames as well that were like head-drawing and stuff. This version of that for Dungeons and Dragons is one of my favourite ones yet. Now, visually, these might look a little bit ugly. Here's Nadar, in his normal version, and in this unique bespoke frame version. This is meant to look like an entry in an old-school D&D Dungeon Master manual, or, Dungeon Master guide, or monster manual, or similar. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So this is meant to be a treatment that we'll see on legendaries and iconic creatures. So we're going to see some of the beholders, and the bugbears, and the owlbears, and the other things that would inevitably be in the set. And I think from a flavour perspective, this is a fantastic include for a Dungeons & Dragons set. It's my least hyped of the 3 things that are coming up, but it's just nice. I mean, I know one of the fundamental problems with Magic that people keep coming up with is that there are just so many frame treatments, it's hard to keep up, no one knows which ones they want, there's a lot of subjectivity in it, but I don't know. Variety is the spice of life, and I'm growing to enjoy the 1 million frame treatments per set, even if it is confusing as shit for people trying to sell these cards online. I do not envy you if you work in inventory for your local game store. Next up, we were shown that art cards would return in this set, that they began with Modern Horizons 1, and then have become like a mainstay of most sets now in the set, or collector boosters. Which booster you get these in, I don't know, and I can't be bothered to figure it out. But this is an art card. Now, normally they just have like a background, like white back on the back of them, where an artist can sign them, for example. But these new ones, at least in this example of this flump one we've been shown, and if you want to see a video on the flumps, by the way, what they are mechanically, thematically, flavorfully, I did a whole video on flumps. That'll be in the cards and at the end cards and all that good shit. Anyway, this is a flump, and it has a basic, very basic character sheet on the back of it, or data sheet, or monster manual entry. Flump, it's got its stats there, it's got its armor class, hit points, speed, attacks. I mean, you'd have to go look up these again on beyond D20, but it's a good reference card. Strength, dex, con, int, wisdom, charisma. Hell, I would like to have these, and if my party members do a correct check, let's say in the case of a flump, is it an aberration? Yeah. Let's say they do a knowledge check, and they've got advantage because they're from the Underdark or whatever. Well, I don't know what knowledge check I'd make them do. Maybe survival? Someone tell me in the comment section below which one they should probably use for that. I haven't got a D&D character sheet in front of me. If they succeed, I might even slide them this if they get a good success. They've got like inherent knowledge of all these stats and stuff. They won't know about this particular flump. That flump could be a greater flump for all they know. Hell, they won't even know what those attacks necessarily do, but it gives them a good idea. There's going to be 80 of these. It's going to be for all the creatures. Now, from the Polygon article that these were all dumped into yesterday for the previews, it doesn't actually say that we're going to get like these sorts of sheets for non-creature. I would fucking love if we've got classic spells like Fireball or Magic Missile or whatever, and on the back was a spell card. Because the spell cards for D&D that exist RL, that Wizards of the Coast sell, I'm going to say it now, they are not good. I own the Mage and the Druid ones, I think. I'll put some on screen now. They have no unique art on them. They're ugly as fuck. If we had them with the wonderful, the gorgeous Magic art that is coming in D&D Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, because Magic is up there with 40k for having, and Age of Sigmar for having the greatest art in the hobby space. Like Dungeons and Dragons, it's on par, but there's not as much of it, right? Magic has so much unique art that it's beautiful. It's fucking gorgeous. The art direction is incredible. The artists working on this are some of the most talented, some of the most skilled artists in the industry. This art should be on cards for D&D. So we're getting it. We're getting these basic creature sheets. I really wish we'd get this for magic spells and gear. Oh, imagine a bag of holding where it's just a card and it has the art at the top and the explanation of what it does at the bottom there. Oh my god, that'd be good. We don't know if that isn't happening, but the only talk has been creatures so far. There's a big focus on creatures this set. So I wish all 80 of them were cards that would then factor into my D&D adventures, and I'll be all over it. I'm gonna collect all of these anyway. It's the first time I'm gonna go out of my way to collect every single art card, because A, I love the art, B, it ties into iconic stuff from D&D, and C, they actually got playable stuff on them. Oh, this is a fantastic idea. It's double dipping on the art cards to make them useful as a game piece in another game. That blows my mind. That's so cool. I hope we see something like this for Warhammer as well. And then we finally come to the bit that I am the most excited about, but however, will probably be the most jarring and perhaps the most controversial of the three things for Booster Fun this time. This is Evolving Wilds. This is the new frame for Evolving Wilds, or at least the showcase special frame thing. This is emulating the look of the early adventure modules for OG, like First Ed and maybe Advanced D&D. The adventure modules. Here's one on screen now. And there's a load of these. They were leaked before, and although Commander Quarters don't give a fuck and does leak stuff, I try to avoid it because I don't want to take the thunder out of other people's sales that might have got them as previews and stuff, you know? So this was leaked before. I was hoping it was real. This got shown. I am in love. This might be my favourite frame treatment I've seen in the more outlandish ones, at least anyway. Like, I'm a big fan of I guess Old Border Foils is one of my favourite, but that doesn't count. There's nostalgia here. There's real nostalgia here that's on par with Old Border Foils for me. Like, growing up, I never really got to play D&D because here in England, well, local game stores don't exist. I was young, I was poor, my family were very, very poor, and I made do with things I can get from like charity shops and car boot sales or jumble sales, or what Americans call them. I don't know. Swap meets. I don't fucking know. Anyway, and I would pick up any RPG supplement I could get. I got a book of Vampire the Masquerade off a car boot sale once, and it was the coolest shit. So anyway, didn't have much D&D, but I would see some of these floating around from time to time. I had a couple of them, but didn't have all the D&D rules, nor anyone to play with them. These were the things that I'd see. They'd smell faintly of old cupboards and piss because they're second-hand copies that have been floating around for 10, 15 years now. There is a real strong sense of nostalgia of these boxes that I had in my cupboard in my mother's house with all these random books in them that I would thumb through and get excited about, but never actually get to play with. This is proper nostalgia for a retro, basically almost like a vintage looking thing, and I love it. Now, let's quickly address some of the criticisms. Some people say they are ugly. I mean, that's subjective, but I can understand why this might not be pleasing on the eye. It is jarring. It is trying to emulate the aesthetic hallmarks and the characteristics of a thing designed in the late 70s and the 80s. Like an ugly as shit design, because back then visual design sucked. It was all like the printing methods were shit and everyone's graphic designer abilities were dog shit. So it makes sense they'd look like garbage. Someone said they look like Monopoly cards, and I'm like, well, I don't necessarily agree, but I get where you're coming from, because Monopoly cards come from that period of time as well, where the graphic design sensibilities and the way they were printed made them look basic and very not kitsch. What's the word I'm looking for? Just garish and awful. The other big criticism is that they don't look like Magic cards. And honestly, I understand that criticism, and it's correct. It is objectively correct to say this does not look like a Magic card. At first glance, it reads visually like a fucking adventure module. That's why I love it so much. And then you unpack it, you start to like pass over it, and you start to grok it. It's got like a tap symbol and the word land on it, and the set symbol, the little black board at the bottom, and so yeah, it doesn't look like a Magic card. But then again, that is a concern that I had voiced too, that Magic was going to become this amorphous blob of just weird looking shit, and we might still go that way. And I can understand that concern, and I don't want that to happen. I still want Magic to have a cohesive visual identity. But with the addition of secret layers and showcase frames and stuff, that horse has already bolted. I don't think it's a slippery slope, but I think we're going to... I guess the future problem is we might reach a critical mass where there's just so much visual noise at an EDH table that you have no fucking idea what's going on. Like, normally you glance across the table and you know that's an Evolving Wilds or a Skolden Tarn or a Sol Ring or whatever. But I mean, personally, I play a deck that is full of altars, full of as many weird arts as I can with Tachiova. Hell, here's some footage here. This is my deck covered in altar sleeves and mythic frames, which is... still up for pre-order, by the way, on the Kickstarter. But I am into my decks being weird looking. So I get that it makes the game strange to play. But ultimately, that's already happening. Like, the best example of that is the metal secret lair, the Anguished Unmakings and stuff, because they are just fucking wild. I really don't like them myself personally, but I'm glad they exist for someone else. And yeah, that door is open. That Pandora's box has been cracked. The horse is already bolted. I can't think of any other metaphors. Are they metaphors? Axioms? I don't know to explain that any further. But it's a truthful observation, but I don't know if it's a concern that we have to worry about. Not at the moment. Obviously, in 5-10 years' time, after we've got, like, 15, 20, 25 sets like this, yeah, an EDH game's going to look like a fucking hot mess, but is that really such a bad thing? So let me know in the comment section below what you think. Do you think I'm overhyping this? Do you think I'm being too nice? I fucking love all of these things. I think they fit within the confines of the set and the thematic identity of the set and the callbacks to another intellectual property in a fantastic way. It makes me very excited for what Lord of the Rings and Warhammer will bring next year. Although I know I am in the minority, it seems, on the internet because everyone is so vocal about being pissed off about those sets. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.